Welcome to Vinyl Poetry Lounge, where legendary lyrics spark poetic fires. I'm your hostess for the next hour, Jana Lopez. So kick back, relax, and let the words carry you home. Well, hello and welcome to Vinyl Poetry Lounge. I'm your hostess, Jana Lopez. It's my honor and pleasure to be here with you on a Sunday or Monday, depending on what part of the world you're in. And thank you for making time to hang out and talk about things I love, including poetry, lyrics, music, history, a little bit of everything. This show happens to cover a lot of ground in a short space. So, but the important thing is that I believe that poetry is everywhere and it is available to us in the most everyday things that we don't even think twice about, music being one of them. And there are so many lyrics to songs that I grew up with as a kid singing over and over and over again, and didn't even really realize how much poetry was embedded in them. And so now in my grown-up world, my day-to-day life, I am what is known as a poet in residence. And this is for Creighton University School of Medicine. And basically, I'm the first in the country to use poetry as a way to connect people to healing and empathy and grappling and reflecting and using poetry as a way to heal contradiction. Because when you provide for people in medicine, it's kind of a heavy world. And so I help professors and faculty and medical students learn how to use poetry so they can process contradictory emotions. And what I love about the work, and I should mention, I'm a book coach. I help people start and finish the books of their dreams. And so what that means is I help them get unstuck. Writers get stuck. Writers want to write and writers get stuck. And I have found that teaching poetry as a way into expression and through to expression has helped people, writers, unlock their expression. And so I have a chance to merge all the worlds between poetry and lyrics and making it accessible and integrated into everyday life, because that's the point. It's not about being somewhere over there. It's about being right here and using what you have and meeting yourself where you are so that you feel open and free to create. So I look at this classroom environment as something that's living and breathing, meaning I'm here to teach and guide and hopefully open you up and inspire you to maybe rethink, reimagine, reconnect, and reignite your own creative expression. It's so much fun, and people are often very surprised when I break down lyrics of a song like Stairway to Heaven or Under Pressure by Queen. I've done Space Oddity by David Bowie. And I talk about why the lyrics are poetry, and people are usually surprised. They're like, I didn't think about that. I didn't know that. And next time they hear that song, it's as if they've heard it for the first time. So that to me is a win. And so why do I do this? Why do I do this? Because I think the world is desperately floundering right now. We are inundated with social media and with artificial intelligence, and everything is filled in for us. When we want to type a message, it puts in the word. When we want to write something on a document, it wants to fill in the word, and everything is getting filled in for us. And so human beings are losing their capacity to make up their own minds about what they think and feel and how they express themselves. I'll say that again. Human beings are losing their ability to think for themselves, feel for themselves, and express for themselves. And this is something that is alarming to me, keeps me up at night. And so I'm going to encourage you, don't lose your ability to think for yourself, to feel for yourself, and above all, express for yourself. And so however we do that, this is one way. Being here with me now, whenever you find me, however you join, is to just receive the reminder that you have something to say, you have something to believe, you have something to express. And don't let a computer chatbot fill in the gaps for you. Find your own freedom in your expression. So today on Vinyl Poetry Lounge, the artist that I want to feature is Stewart. And the reason is because The Year of the Cat is one of those songs that has stayed with me growing up and for my entire life. And so kind of a mystery song, but it's a song that tells a definite story. This is a storytelling song. And so as lyrics go, and as poetic lyrics go, I think this song tells a very beautiful lyrical story in a very poetic way. And so we're just going to take our time and unpack and examine and grapple. And again, these songs that I break down with lyrics, they're only my opinions and thoughts and imagining. So I'd be curious to hear yours. And when this video gets posted on YouTube, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments on YouTube. I would love to hear what you think. So, who is Stewart? Let's just start with that. Stewart. Who is Stewart? There he is. Stewart is is a Scottish singer-songwriter, best known for blending history and literature and imagery into his songs. And they could be considered rock, they can be considered folk rock. But unlike many of the singer-songwriters of the 1970s, Stewart often wrote about historical figures and places and cinematic scenes rather than his own personal confessions. And his breakthrough came in 1976 with this album, The Year of the Cat, which incidentally was produced by Alan Parsons. And so this album turned him into an international star. So Stewart was somebody that really embraced other art forms to create his own. And so The Year of the Cat, this is like an astrological sounding thing. It's like the year of the mouse, the year of the rat, the year of the horse. So the year of the cat is actually in Vietnamese astrology. And unlike the Chinese zodiac, which has the rabbit, the Vietnamese zodiac has the cat. The 12-year cycle recurs every 12 years, of course, based on the lunar calendar. And the most recent lunar year of the cat was in 2023. So we just passed through the year of the cat, and it ended in February of 2024. And you know how these years are typically associated with things. The year of the cat is traditionally associated with qualities such as intuition, independence, mystery, quiet confidence, and good fortune. So these traits align remarkably well with the woman who is featured in this song. So within the song, the year of the cat seems less like a calendar year, and it's much more like a state of being, a moment when ordinary rules no longer apply. And so the narrator begins as a traveler with a schedule. And we'll get to the lyrics, but Stewart says she comes in like a silk dress. She comes out of the sun in a silk dress running. And so he kind of opens up the song. And again, we're going to break it down more, but in the song, he misses his bus. He misses his chance. So how the unexpected invitations change our lives. How many of those have I had? So many. So many unexpected invitations. And so let's talk about the story behind the Year of the Cat. Al Stewart. Year of the Cat actually started as a completely different song. Al Stewart had written this song almost from a completely different perspective, and it had a totally different title and a totally different sentiment. And there were several iterations of this song that Al Stewart started to grapple with before it started to finally kick in its current evolution. And so the inspiration started to flow in from a couple different places. Al Stewart's girlfriend left a book of Vietnamese astrology on the coffee table, and it happened to be opened to the page, The Year of the Cat, and he loved the phrase. He instantly loved the phrase. Around the same time, he was watching the film Casablanca, and this idea of the opening imagery came to him with the references to Humphrey Bogart and Peter Lorre in the song. And so one of the most interesting things Al Stewart has said about The Year of the Cat is that he never intended the song to have a fixed single meaning. A lot of artists do that, where they just write a song based on an emotion, an image, a metaphor. And he wanted it to be a cinematic experience, is what he was saying about how he wrote and felt about this song. And the song came together from images and moods and scenes rather than a single, event from his own life. And I find that fascinating. And I tell people all the time when it comes to writing poetry that so much of it can come from your own experience, lived experience, but it doesn't have to. It can come from what you imagine or what you envision or another art form that inspired you. And I love that art inspires art, because that's really when we start to get into some very deep layered parts of our own expression, is when other art inspires us. And so speaking of art, let's look at this really wild album cover that Al Stewart had created. So beautiful. There's so much in here. And so the album cover was created by the legendary design group Hypnosis. And the illustrator was Colin Elgee. And the artwork depicts a woman surrounded by cat-themed objects, kind of preparing for a costume party. And hidden feline references appear throughout the room. And this was to reinforce kind of the dreamy kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of a dreamy state of thinking and imagining into this idea about cats and the mystery of cats. And some of Al Stewart's own comments about this was that he believed that he wanted to, after securing the title, then he began working on the lyrics. So the title came first, then the lyrics, which is interesting because when I write poetry, I always write the poem and the title always comes from what I've written. So that's interesting. Not that it's always been that way, but that's typically how I write. And so he loved the mystery, and he was influenced by Bob Dylan's use of titles and Bob Dylan's sensibilities, and how Bob Dylan used kind of mystery and storytelling in his lyrics. And so While Al Stewart was crafting and thinking and dreaming up, as I had previously shared, he was watching Casablanca, and he was inspired by this. And so the opening lines to this song came while watching the film. And the references to Humphrey Bogart and Peter Lorre in the song were intentional to create kind of an image of an old black and white cinematic movie taking place somewhere exotic. And so the entire musical track to this song was composed largely before he had written the final lyrics. And so for Al Stewart, he loved that the woman in the song was intentionally mysterious. And he loved the idea about fate and choices and adventure and how life-changing moments can occur in an instant. And so he wanted to tell this kind of a story. And so the narrator begins as a tourist following a schedule and ends up abandoning this carefully planned journey for the unknown. Now, I love this song. I really do love this song. And Al Stewart didn't think it would be a hit when he wrote it. And he said afterwards that he had finally found the perfect balance in the song between songwriting, arrangement, and production, his big three. And so he said, he joked, if this isn't a hit, I don't think I can make it a hit. So it took him going through the entire process to finally recognize what he had. And he said he felt the collaboration with Alan Parsons gave this song such a beautiful, lush sound. That Alan Parsons was so known for extending instrumental and memorable saxophone tracks. And so Al Stewart really believed that the production value that Alan Parsons contributed is finally what made this song a hit. So why would I choose this song for vinyl poetry? It's just perfect because we have this idea of a narrator and a schedule and a bus and choice, and the cat becomes the symbol, the year of the cat. This becomes the symbol for using your intuition, being unpredictable, and these strange invitations that can appear. And what I want to add is that these strange invitations are probably always around us. How do we recognize them? Are we listening? Are we too asleep at the wheel? Are we too overwhelmed by fear or fatigue or all the things that are going on in the world? And so this ambiguity is exactly what Al Stewart had in mind, that it's less of a story to solve and more of a dream to enter. And I love that. We need to be dreaming right now. We need to enter our dreams because we have enough stories. Too many stories, more dreams. And so this album, which I was so surprised to learn was recorded at Abbey Road Studios. And this was in January of 1976. And several elements made the recording unique. The album version runs nearly 7 minutes. More than 4 minutes of the song are instrumental. The song features piano, strings, acoustic, electric guitar, violin, synthesizer, and the saxophone. Alan Parsons later said that adding the saxophone transformed the song from a folk piece into a cinematic recording that helped it to become a hit. Now, I've never been to Abbey Road Studios, but I have friends who have recorded there, and I would love, love, love to go to the iconic Abbey Road Studios. And so I love that this album was done there because it gives it just another layer of cool factor to me. The song reached number 8 in 1977, and it became Al Stewart's signature song. He was later known also for Time Passages, but this is the song that stands out. So the other artists that were recording around this time were Paul Simons and Cat Stevens. And the song makes you feel like you're sort of on a European adventure. It actually really transports you somewhere. And really, there's just so much intrigue to this song. And I think what it does is it evokes a very personal version of what we imagine when we allow ourselves to dream about taking an adventure. And for me, this song feels like Morocco, and there's some specific lines in here that give me that vision and imagery, but we'll see how it lands for you. And so it's definitely a romantic storyline and sort of a young, adventurous storyline, and one that reminds me of how important it is to sometimes throw caution to the wind. So with that, let us listen to the first clip of The Year of the Cat by Al Stewart.
On a morning from a Bogart movie, in a country where they turn back time, you go strolling through the crowd like Peter Lorre contemplating a crime.
All right, so on a morning from a Bogart movie, in a country where they turn back time. So already he's setting this scene. When we say Bogart movie, we have a definite relational understanding of a black and white cinematic experience in a country where they turn back time. That's just so beautiful, because here's where I can imagine cobblestone streets and people in a marketplace, a bustling marketplace, and doing things the way they've always been done, generation to generation. So you go strolling through the crowd like Peter Lorre, contemplating a crime. And so what that gives me visually is this idea of walking through these bustling old marketplaces, Peter Lorre sort of as a, an iconic Hollywood figure contemplating a crime, like something that needs to be solved. There's mystery, there's intrigue. And I just love this idea of contemplating a crime. That line is so evocative, because when you think of contemplating a crime, there's a lot of thought and reflection and backstory that comes into just that single line of contemplating a crime. It's just beautiful. So we're in this marketplace, we're strolling, and we're contemplating a crime. We're on a detective hunt of some kind. All right, we'll go to the next one.
She comes out of the sun in a silk dress, running like a watercolor in the rain. Don't bother asking for explanation, she'll just tell you that she came in the year of the cat.
She comes out of the sun in a silk dress. So all of a sudden, you're just going about your day. You're in this crowded marketplace where people are everywhere. And then out she comes of the sun. She comes out of the sun. That just is such a beautiful line. It basically is describing her as a vision of brightness and illumination, as if she just came right out of the sun in a silk dress. So we get this feeling of softness and femininity. And the silk dress is running like a watercolor in the rain. Now, I can't tell you how many times I've used that particular line to describe something running like a watercolor in the rain. I mean, it just means that everything blends and it's just, you're helpless. It's just coming together. There's no delineation. And she's just part of, all of a sudden, immersed, and there's just nothing. Don't bother asking for an explanation because it's too late. You're already the watercolor with the rain. You're already one thing. And I love this idea. Don't bother asking for explanations because you can't make sense sometimes of these things. Explanations don't measure up for the mystery we sometimes feel and experience as the magic of our life unfolds. So don't bother asking for explanations because she's just going to tell you that she came in the year of the cat, and that the year of the cat explains it all, meaning there's nothing more to be said. The year of the cat, we talked about intuition, mystery, sort of the magic of what happens in the year of the cat. So she's going to tell you the year of the cat says it all. Now, one thing about poetry is that a single line or a single image or a single word can sometimes tell you the fullness and the meaning without explaining. That's the beautiful thing about poetry, is sometimes words and phrases will tell you or infer something without having to fully explain it. And in this case, in this song, she'll just tell you that she came in the year of cat. Excellent. All right, go on to the next one.
She doesn't give you time for questions as she locks up your arm and hers. You follow till the essence of which direction completely disappears.
I love this. So even if you wanted to ask for explanations, she's not going to give you any time for questions. This magical, serendipitous moment of chance and fate and luck and mystery are unfolding in real time. And if you are open to greet it, this is what's going to happen. She locks up your arm in hers. You don't even have a chance, right? She's got you. And without hesitation, you're going to follow till your sense of which direction completely disappears. Now, to this line, to me, it means two things. It's metaphorical, of course, and literal, that you're in this winding, busy marketplace of people and streets and cobblestones, and you're just getting thrown into the river of traffic and movement with people's going through, and you just lose your sense of direction. But what I love about this is that it also means that when your logic would kick in and you might tell yourself, hey, should you be doing this? That because you're so swept up in the magic of the moment, that your logic disappears. So to me, your sense of direction is your logic, metaphorically, and you lose your sense of direction because it's disappearing. It's so beautiful, so beautiful. All right, the next one.
By the blue town walls near the market stores, there's a hidden door she leads you to. These days, she says, I feel my life just like a river running through the year of the cat.
Okay, so I think this is the part where I believed, or I felt like Morocco. So by the blue tiled walls near the market stalls. There's a hidden door she leads you to. And I love that she knows where the hidden door is. And I love that even in all of this chaos and motion, that there's a place to escape. There's a hidden door. And this is so amazing. These days, she says, I feel my life just like a river running through the year of the cat. Like, this is so beautiful. I wish I could get to this point. I wish I could come back to this point of spontaneity and excitement and wonder and dreaming, when my life is just a mystery unfolding before my eyes, like a river running through this year of the cat. And so she's kind of telling him, don't worry, you're safe, I've got you. And the way I'm going to assure you is just to tell you that these days, that it's okay. My life is just unfolding and it's a mystery. And I'm going to kind of take you with me along this journey. But what a beautiful way to describe a life meeting itself to the magic and the mystery as it unfolds. That you're meeting your life like a river running through the year of the cat. So cool. All right, we're going to continue in our adventure.
That you so cool, her eyes they shine like the moon and the sea. She comes in incense and patchouli. You take her to find what's waiting inside the year of the cat.
All right, so we're at the hidden door. She looks at you so coolly. Now, this could mean she's composed and not nervous and unafraid. It could mean that she's so cool, like she's so avant-garde and so cool. And then her eyes are shining like the moon in the sea. And what I love about this image is that I imagine this dark hidden doorway, and he might be a little bit nervous, but she's saying, don't worry, these days I'm just meeting my life where it is. And so she looks at him directly and so coolly, no stress, no tension, no anticipation or anxiety necessarily. And that what he sees is her eyes shining like the moon in the sea. That is such a beautiful image, because what that says is that everything else is dark, but the eyes are bright and clear. And there's always something magical, especially about a moon reflecting on the sea. All you see is that gorgeous, bright, illuminated light, and everything around it is darkness. And so this is probably one of my favorite lines in the song. And so she comes in, incense and patchouli, and that again evokes this old world Moroccan marketplace and sort of hippiness and grooviness and sort of free-spiritedness. I think incense and patchouli creates an image of spiritedness to me, freedom. So you take her to find what's waiting inside, and what's inside is this year of the cat. So you're like, okay, babe, let's do this thing. Let's go inside this hidden door. And it's the year of the cat, the year of the cat. So he kind of gives in to the mystery. He kind of gives in to the way she meets her life, like a river running through the year of the cat. So he goes along with the program, and he takes her to find what's waiting inside. And it's his own year of the cat. His willingness to be in the adventure is the year of the cat. The mystery and the uncertainty is the year of the cat for the person in this song. Okay, and now we're going to go on. This beautiful story and adventure continues. I want to be in the year of the cat.
Comes you're still with her. On the bus and the tourists are gone. You've thrown away your choice. You've lost your ticket, so you have to stay on.
All right, so the morning comes and you're still with her. You've had this amazing adventure and connection and experience and party and communion with this stranger who's no stranger anymore. And you're still with her. And you've been with her so long, the morning has continued on, that the bus that you were on and the tourists that you were with are gone. The train has left the station, so to speak. The bus and the tourists are gone. And you've thrown away your choice and lost your ticket. So without really getting into the semantics of your head and your overthinking and what's right and what's wrong and should you or shouldn't you, you've thrown away your choice. You didn't really argue or get into should you stay or should you go. Because the metaphor of losing your ticket, it's like, you know what? I'm just going into this year of the cat. I've thrown away my choice. I'm not going to think about it. And it's too late. I lost that ticket to get on that bus with those tourists because I am still with her, having a great time, waking up to this beautiful babe, hanging out. And so fate, as it is, just creates the circumstance. So you have to stay on. You have to stay on. You're going to ride this, you're going to take this ticket, ride this train, take this wherever it's going to go. And this is the year of the cat, the mystery. I love that. You've thrown away your choice and lost your ticket. I have felt that way many times with many choices where I've been in a situation where it's either point A or point B, and I do neither, and point C comes up, and that's my year of the cat, where it takes me in a totally different direction. So I love that. All right, we'll go to the last portion of the song.
The drumbeat strains of the night remain in the rhythm of the newborn day. You know sometime you're bound to lose, but for now you're gonna stay in the year of the cat.
Oh, I just love this. I can see this. I can feel this. I can understand this. But the drumbeat strains of the night remain in the rhythm of the newborn day. Oh, that's so gorgeous. So the drumbeat strains of the night remain. That's kind of like the memories of everything that happened that led you to that point in the night, the drumbeat strains. And that's kind of like the rhythm, the beats, the things that led up to, the moments that led up to where you've made this magic and this unfolding moment. So, you know, when you've woken up with somebody the next day that you just met, and it's like the morning after, how you replay all the moments of the night before because it was so magical and so great, and you don't want the moment to end. So that the magic of the night remains that morning. and in the rhythm of the newborn day, that even though it's the next day, the morning after, that the magic of the night still remains. And so your head knows, you know that sometime you're bound to leave her. Your life will go on. Your reality will kick in. You will have to get back to whatever life that you've left behind. So you know sometime you're bound to leave her. But for now, you're going to stay in the year of the cat. So for now, you're going to stay with the year of the cat and everything that the year of the cat represents. The mystery, the magic, the moment, all of this unfolding, and that you were present and available and accounted for, welcoming and greeting the way the plans did not go, the serendipity, and the miracle that can happen in our lives about people and chance meetings and circumstances that lead us. And so, but for now, you're going to stay in the year of the cat. And it's so metaphorical. And I definitely need more year of the cat. I definitely need more year of the cat. So incredible. The song is truly incredible. There's so many layers to this song. And of course, the music itself is beautiful, but the lyrics, the year of the cat. So what I want you to maybe put in the comments over time as this lives in YouTube land is, do you have a year of the cat experience? And what does year of the cat mean to you? And do you want more year of the cat? And do you appreciate the fullness of this metaphor and what it means? Just stunning. So I often do these shows because I need the reminders myself. I understand sometimes we're living in a very crazy, busy, fatigued, overwhelming, dark, sometimes uncertain world. And so how are we going to survive these days? How are we going to get through all these uncertain moments with some hope and dignity? And I think the year of the cat is an answer. The mystery, the magic, the miracles that we have available to us every single day. And the other answer is art, expression, creativity, and to not silence yourself. Do not silence yourself because we get so overwhelmed. Do not let it take away your ability to grapple and reflect and express all the confusion and hope and love and blue tiled walls. Blue tiled walls coming in from the sun. Losing your sense of direction. We need more of these things in our lives. So how are we going to create them? And I think listening to music, reflecting on lyrics to songs that we once loved and appreciated and that help define who we are is part of the answer, for sure. It's part of the answer. So that's Al Stewart's Year of the Cat. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And thank you so much for listening. And this song, next time you hear it, I'll be curious what stays with you and what your Year of the Cat is. If you've appreciated what I've done today and have learned something new and support my work in helping people access poetry and keeping it equitable, I take donations. And so think of it like buying a cup of coffee for me or something or whatever. It does help with the costs of production and putting this show together and the technology costs for the show. And anything is greatly appreciated. So And you can go on my website if you missed the QR code, janalopez.com, and Vinyl Poetry Lounge is there. Again, thank you for joining me. And until next week, keep your vinyl spinning and your poetry flowing. I'm your hostess, Jana Lopez, Vinyl Poetry Lounge. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me for this week's show of Vinyl Poetry Lounge. I'm your hostess, Jana Lopez. Keep your vinyl spinning and poetry flowing till we meet again next time.